Where have I been? I've been around, actually. Since 2010, I thought I wanted to retire from journalism, and I didn't really know what to do. So I took a little 2 years break. Then I went to Israel, where they brought the stone. I went to Israel to study national security. Went back to...
Oh, you were in Israel to study national security?
Yeah, I went back to do intelligence, came back and decided, okay, I wanted to just do something else. And so I left the media, especially the newspaper, for the staff, really. I had some amazing staff. I'm sure you, David Tamaklo, Opare, Larry Dogbe, they were all there, so I left it for them just to focus on some other stuff. So I've been around, a lot more quiet. I also have been working internationally on different things. So I've been around. I
can see. In fact, that the last time your name came up prominently in the media was what happened at trade fair. For a lot of you, that was for a lot of people, that was the first time they had heard, oh, okay, so this is what he's really been up to.
Yes. So I would, since you've asked, I'll tell you a little story about how I ended up in printing.
Okay.
And how I ended up at the trade fair.
Okay.
So like I told you, 2010, I was considering career change. I had fun, with journalism. I was best investigative journalist, Ghana, 2003. Yeah. I was West Africa journalist, best co-winner West Africa best journalist. I was Africa best. I was world best. So I at some point I needed a little challenge, and I thought, okay, I wanted to do something. Printing. You will be surprised.
Because you were saying you were doing intelligence, security.
No, I still do that. So even when I was working as a journalist, I was working for a lot of the international risk companies. So like, I hear their names once in a while. I heard of Safo Mafo, but so I worked for Crowe and Associates for 15 years as a consultant. And so some of my colleagues, I worked for risk analysis also in UK for a number of years. I worked for the 3G group for a number of years until last year. I would say I still work for KPMG Europe. So from time to time I do that. And a lot of it has to do more with intelligence. So risk analysis, security assessment, stuff like that. So I do that on the side. But printing. So what happened was in 2010, I was looking for a small place to buy a press to print the newspaper. And then I asked this young guy from KNUST who did research. So I asked him if he would do a small research, whether it's worth printing our own newspaper or whether it's worth, since that's not our core business, whether we should outsource it. So he brought me a report that was quite exciting. So I gave him money to go back and expand the thing into rather commercial printing, and let me see how. And when he gave me the numbers, I said, okay, I think now that I'm looking at other careers, I think I will focus here. So I started there. Then I needed a smaller place. This lady took me to trade fair because there was a white lady who was leaving and wanted to rent out the space. So I went there, and the amount she was calling, I was like, how? I'm a Ghanaian. Like, I'm renting from a white person who is leaving. So it should be possible for me to also rent. At that time, the chief executive there, I think the one appointed by Kufo was the one who was there. And he had this plan that he wanted companies to come to the trade fair because when Nkrumah's original idea was he wanted the one side to be an industrial side, and he wanted more industrial companies to come there. So when I went to see him, he was excited, and he actually wanted me to follow him to other companies to try to bring them to the trade fair, so that industrial section would be taken by companies as part of the original plan. So that's how he gave me the space, Bearland, and I started doing block work, like one block after the other.
You built it?
We built it. It was bush when they actually, in fact, the guy who showed me the thing gave me the size, and he couldn't go into the bush, so he threw the stone and said, that's your size. So we weeded it. We brought people. We started molding the block, one block after another. And for about a year and a half, we managed to put up the first phase.
Okay.
So the first phase was more of a general printing. The second phase was security printing. So we ended up printing some of the empty and scratch cards.
Okay.
The final phase was the packaging. Okay. And I was so excited about the company because of where we were heading towards. Okay. We had become so good at what we were doing, also not because of my knowledge, because we had a lot of experts who brought in a lot of knowledge. So we were printing.
You work with a lot of expatriates.
Yeah, we had a lot of experts at the factory. So we were working. We were doing things like printing, doing packaging for Johnny Walker.
Okay.
So black label, red label, those premium boxes. Okay. We were doing them for the first time in Ghana, and we were going to be we had already been contacted by South Africa for Johnny Walker, by Nigeria for Johnny Walker boxes. So it was like after 10 years of experimenting with general printing and security printing, we were gradually gravitating towards full-time packaging. Okay. For the first time in Ghana, we were doing pharmaceutical packaging. 99% of pharmaceutical boxes come from India. So we started manufacturing pharmaceutical boxes for the first time here on a large scale. And so it was exciting, and that was the middle of everything when the factory got demolished. So it was really a big blow, really.
It was a huge lift off for you. You were getting to the point where you were doing things that were not being done in Ghana.
The thing about how the life of business is, like I said, we started off, we were doing general printing. All right, so we had 3 managers, one for the general printing, one for the security printing, and the other for the packaging. Okay. But I saw the packaging side as the final place where the opportunities were big, where we were beginning to even export packaging to South Africa, to Nigeria. It was going to be, and the Nigeria market is huge. South Africa, Congo, and Cameroon was what we were going to get
markets
before the factory was demolished. So we had gotten to that point after 10 years of day and night. Like, if you know my friends, they will tell you, I can work from morning to morning. That's how I used to work. I will go to work morning and come back the next day. So it was just a lot of work, so intense. 10 years, 11 years of toil. Just to see it just go down like that was quite painful. And it went down in less than an hour. It was just something else.
There's a bit more of a story, but okay. So you saw you wanted a place at Trade Fair. Yeah. You were negotiating with a white lady for a space that they already have built, but you thought that, why wouldn't I get my own land and build from the ground yourself?
Yes.
You got the land, built yourself, started the business. The business had just started thriving, and you were on a huge takeoff. All of a sudden, your hard work was paying off. Then one day, what happened? Because you said it happened in an hour, but before that, I'm sure a sequence of events.
This story, what I think the real reason for demolishing my factory, this story, I will tell it later, because it's very, very sensitive. And the real reason why I think they demolished the factory, I think it has to do with my international work in the oil sector.
Okay.
And I think because of the kind of confidentiality contracts that we have, and also because of, for some very, very strategic reason, I think we will tell that story someday. But I can almost bet you 99% that my business was targeted because of some work that I had been contracted to do in the oil sector.
Your business was targeted.
Yeah.
You were
I told
contracted
you,
to
like,
do in the
I
oil
work
sector.
as a risk advisor.
Okay.
So I work also as a risk advisor for a few of the oil companies. And I think one of the projects, advisory things that we did might have really led to the demolition of the factory. But we will tell that story. It's a very, very serious story. Very, very serious. But, you know, I'm so used to big stories that I tend to be very calm about it. So
because we all know what you did.
You know, now there's tension. You don't want to add to it, but it's really terrible.
But I'm wondering when you tell that story, because why is today not the best time to tell it?
Not today. Maybe after 2024. maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of people felt Raymond Archer, investigative journalist, you were one of those who they felt were responsible for the MPP's loss in 2008. Of course, the man who contested at the time is the man who is president now. Your work, even in the studios, you hosting a show. Among others, some of the information you
so
put
let me
out.
tell you about that show. Is it Election Forensics?
Election Forensics, yeah.
So
what had happened to you meant that you were done with the business.
No, not just that. But so they demolished the factory and they destroyed the equipment.
Okay.
So then there was no business. And to start that would take you another 10 years, 7 years. It's not.
So you lost your equipment.
I lost everything.
But I'm wondering whether you sought any form of. Sometimes when this happens to you as a businessman, these are losses to you.
Yeah.
Have you taken up the matter legally?
No. So you know, when, like I told you, all those harassment that was going on. So I immediately went to court because I just realized where things were going. So as I speak to you, the case is in court. They actually demolished the factory while the case was in court.
Okay.
But for very strategic reasons, I don't even want to push because they will give you some judgment that it will even be more hurtful. And so they don't call the case anymore. They just left it at I will leave it at that for some other day. I think
is that also a statement of your faith in the Ghana's judiciary? Because I'm wondering, you said they'll give you some judgment that will even be much more heartbreaking, will just rub salt into your wound.
Because, you know, so first of all, we got an injunction to restrain the trade fair from ever demolishing the facility.
Yes, I recall.
They were served. They went to court. They lost the argument. In fact, they did not even come and defend themselves on the issue of the injunction. The injunction had been in place for 1 year. After 1 year, they now wanted to go and defend the injunction. That's when everybody was like, forget it. This is going to be thrown out. Don't worry about it. What I did not know, what I found out later, was the fact that there had been a decision completely non-related to the court that led to the demolition of the factory. And where the order came from was so far away, it was why they had that time difference. You know, they went there 12 o'clock midnight. In fact, interestingly, that day I was with Roland at home when I got the call from the security that some armed police and operatives were there with bulldozers demolishing the factory. So they had gone there around midnight, and from what I found out later, where the order came from, the time difference is what led to them going to the place at that time.
They got an order from a court?
No.
Okay, so this is within the executive.
We'll talk about that later someday. I'm telling you, it's a very serious thing, but I think compared to how serious it is, sometimes I feel like a lot of people ask me, how are you? Like, I would have died. Like, I have people from the MPP that will tell you, I would have died. If this happened to me, I would have died. But compared to the seriousness against the state of what I was doing, I think it's a smaller price to pay, really. It's a smaller price to pay compared to what I was doing in the international risk business. If you ask me if I was to make another judgment on what I was doing, I would make the same judgment.
So you feel it's a commensurate reaction?
Yes.
Oh, that's an interesting thing to say.
Yeah.
That pulling down your business, you understand? Okay. Perhaps I did something to you that is strong enough for you to act this way.
No. I'm saying that I told you that I think is related to my work as a risk advisor in the oil sector.
Yeah.
And as a risk advisor, I face the realities of everything and give advice accordingly.
Okay.
So, for example, and I'm not saying in this specific case, I'm going to give you a general example.
Okay.
So let's say that company A is in Ghana. They want to do a project, and the project is with government A. Now, government A has brought person A to be a front for ABCD. I will now be asked, look into person A. Is there any fallout if we associate with him? Who is his connections and network in the government? So I have to break everything down and explain to them that this company that has been brought is connected to this company and is connected to this politician and is connected to this. So I have to do all that first investigation and do the analysis and then give them the risk factors. So in this particular project, I thought the risk was too much. And what they were doing there against the state was just way too much for me, even as a Ghanaian. Like I'm saying, when I say that, considering the work I was doing and what they did to my business, I would think maybe it's a smaller risk price to pay, considering what was going on in that sector.
Because I'm wondering, to build a company that got to printing the highest level when it comes to packaging, security printing, and all those, the cost of those equipment that they put together, the reputation you had been able to build, all of it came crashing down one day in a few hours.
You like I told you, even though I work as a consultant, I get paid for it, but I'm a Ghanaian first. If I'm working in, let's say, Rwanda, I'm not from Rwanda, so I would just give them the realities and that's it.
Okay.
In this case, you just imagine, my company was about $10.5–11 million.
Okay.
Imagine the value of the oil sector, the oil fields.
Okay.
We're talking billions. And my factory is for me and my family alone. The oil sector, the oil fields, is for 31 million people. So that's what I'm trying to say, that if I can save that project for the people, I am happy to sacrifice my small business against the billions that benefits everyone. That's actually what I'm trying to say. If you want to demolish my factory because I'm in the way of taking things that belong to 31 million people, and you want to take me out because I'm standing in the way, I'm happy to do that. It's always been what I have been anyway.
You're standing in somebody's way?
Yeah.
In the oil field, in the oil sector.
It's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that goes on, and I think sometimes I feel like Ghanaians know 20%.
20%
Yes.
of what goes on.
Like what's going on, I think Ghanaians know only 20%.
Judge of what actually happens.
What's happening, happening. I feel like sometimes when I hear people, like I hear Sir John's Wale, I'm like, people have done, there's evidence, people have done 20 times what Sir John has done. They're walking around. They're pointing fingers at Opuni. Okay, they're pointing fingers at Opuni, trying to jail him. And they're walking around here with millions